afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero of Sight, Defender of the Fatherland. Your Lord and Master. Off here till 1 vs 1 on Crossroads between the south. We got here Hermann Goering, fighting for United Kingdom, King and Country here for the 52nd Infantry Division, tasked with holding the line under the vicious assault of the Crouch under the command of Zerg 111. Fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland, taking on the role here of the 9th Panzer Division, tasked with breaking through, routing those Tommies and sending them back into the sea. With Ostrom elite troops and mechanized assault with triple panzer bulletins versus Hermann Goering here with special weapons and double infantry and a half-track bulletin. Interestingly enough, both players by the way are ranked 100. Hermann Goering is ranked 95 at the moment with the Brits, and I think Zerg is somewhere around the 80s in ranking. So both players with a bit of heft there to them. We got the standard MD42 going to do here for Zerg as he moves eastwards. Going to try to secure the northern fuel point here, which is also where Hermann Goering is moving towards. He's also going for the heavy infantry build, which again is getting increasingly popular with the Brits because it can just sort of amass at a certain point really heavy critical mass if you just add a lot of light machine guns to it. And certainly some players can get really unpleasant with it. So we'll have to see how that works out. With the MD4 coming in, Grenadiers as well here. Sandbag being ducked down there by first section. But they're going to forward setting up. Good Lord! Machine gun! Get the devil! Oh God! My buttocks have been pierced! Anyways, pushing forward step, they're going another section up, preventing here, in this case, Zerg from rushing in, because that's most likely what trying to do with the Grenadiers, rush in and then sort of shoot them up close, further just pushing them away there. But thanks to the other section covering the first section, the other section was actually able to crawl to safety and get back in action. So that was a good reason for them going to stick the sections close to each other. Third section moving westwards there, and there go fourth section. So very infantry heavy approach there by Hermann Goering. Pioneers moving westwards. The Turbo, they're referring to him being from Turkey. There's apparently a sizable number of Turkish players amongst the higher rankings. Fun fact there. I didn't know that, but apparently there's a bunch of them. So, you know, the more you know. Going to just occupying here just in case the Brits try to sneak up there, but so far it seems a bit of a standoff there. You got section moving up the flanking the Pioneers. We got Grenadiers moving in there. Fourth section around there for Hermann Goering. And certainly a doctrine like this can extend work with, in particular the half-tech, can certainly support the sections quite nicely. And there's also tank hunter sections to work with it. You can also use hold the line, though most people never utilize it. It's a very expensive ability. Incredibly expensive, though it does of course have some utility, but again really expensive, which tends to mean it's not really on the radar of most players when you also consider a lot of the other doctrine elements are a bit expensive as well, munitions wise. Zerg there after the second Grenadiers going from Malta. Zerg by the way is from Taiwan. There's a quick side note there. Section moving westwards into the Grenadiers there by the east. Malta moving up to secure the point next to the base. So far, though, we can see that sort of Hermann Goering spreading his influence across the map, securing points left and right. Section up against the Grenadiers here, going to try and flank in. Again, good position. There's pretty much a blind spot here, and the only thing that could make it better here for Hermann Goering is Vactet grenades.
A capture point is being overrun.
Meanwhile, they're trying some sneak harassment there from Zerg, trying to sneak up behind Hermann Goering, find the weak spots, hit the cut-off points that way. I think that's overall a very silent, sensible tactical approach there, but Zerg, as all described, is one of those sharper tactical players overall. Certainly one of those that has some tactical finesse and also likes using a lot of smoke. MD4 sitting up here behind the section, catching Hermann Goering's forces there off guard. Note again, aggressive fluid machine gun play here from the Wehrmacht. Not just, stuck in one place at all times, but overall makes it a lot harder to predict where it is, and that overall makes the machine gun a lot more powerful. As I like to say, the best machine gun is the one your opponent isn't exactly sure of where it is. Hermann Goering here bolts in the sections, which again makes sense. A lot of players like that. Also, then of course, like tank hunters because they also benefit from this upgrade. So there's a bit of synergy there. Mortar they're firing about here, the 8cm Granatenwerfer. Was initially actually at the start of the war considered a heavy mortar for the German army. But with the arrival of the 120mm mortars, they sort of adopted it from the Soviets, specifically stole it and outright copied it. It sort of became a medium mortar instead. Little fun fact there though, how sort of weapon designations can change throughout the war. And there goes second charge against the Grenadiers. We've got another section playing up here. Overall big assault there from Hermann Goering, making use of the fact he does have a lot of sections, that way outmaneuver his opponent. I mean, that's basically how you use a lot of infantry. And some players just tend to use them not very much like that, just like a huge blob of infantry. Machine gun there for HermanGoering as well. MD4 to the supporting. Again, note he's quickly shifted from the east towards the west. Again, this way. I mean, again, you might think, oh, it's over there. I just can safely attack here. But all of a sudden, it's in the west. So again, thumbs up there to Zerg for his fluid machine gun play. It's occasionally a bit too rare to see, honestly, and it can also be a bit tricky to execute and also keep in mind to use. But, I mean, so far, Zerg, I think, is handling it very deftly here. Section, oh, machine gun moving up. They're going to leave there, not quite well in full cover. That could end up a bit badly. So we've got 3 Grenadiers, 142, 1 mortar. Take over there, done for Zerg and the 9th Panzer Division. 52nd here, so far holding on. Takeoff has been done, but there's nothing yet there from it. I imagine there won't be any weapon racks, since again he's very much sort of indicated he's going to go for these resupply half track, which of course means he will be going for the Cascades, and lastly again we'll have to spend resources on that here. Instead he's going for grenades. The Mills bomb, the ever humble. They put in a grenade, apparently a bit too potent, as it was apparently not entirely safe to throw, which apparently spurred the production of a lighter grenade, percussion the number 69. Light fragmentation grenade, from my understanding and from what limited reading on the subject. Got mortifying about here, Grenadiers moving westwards, though the Grenadiers are a bit depleted. On the other hand, he doesn't have any veteran troops. He's going though for a half track, and if he's not going for a medic bunker or anything like that to heal, he could likely be aiming for a flame for a half track, which tends to be sort of one of the more usual counters to the Brits. In particular, if they go for heavy infantry, they tend to be a bit vulnerable there to a flame for a half. And there go quick grenade, the Mills bomb, they're flushing out the Grenadiers, trying to stall them, but ultimately that's not going to last long. They're with Mills bombs in hand for the Tommies. Big push up, catching the machine gun. They're slightly off guard. Decent flank, and there you go, got a half track as well. The 251 Mittler Schützenpanzerwagen, and there you go, he is in fact upgrading it with the flame projectors. So that would explain why no medic bunker to heal his Grenadiers, which are otherwise not amazing condition. He's actually moving in the half-deck to rescue the Grenadiers, realising he's lingered too long, and he tries to treat them there. He knows they're going to get wiped, so that's actually a pretty cool trait there. You rarely see that one. So thumbs up there to Zerg for a rather amazing half-track rescue. Grenadiers moving down the west, so we're going to pack forward in the way. He's obviously expecting some kind of equal there from Hermann Goering. The Brits obviously going a lot more for AC now, so having a pack 40 to counter that would certainly not be a bad idea. But instead, we got a 6-pounder gun there for Hermann Goering and the 52nd Infantry. Section moving up here, Grenadiers more or less reinforced, and the Flammpanzerwagen also blocking the way here. So losing control of the east, but gaining control of the western viewpoint there. And sections there being run off by the Flammpanzerwagen MD4 coming up support as well, further increasing harm upon Hermann Goering's forces. A few shots fired there from the Lee Enfields. Other section continues to fall back, trying to buy time for the arrival of other elements. In fact, you see just setting up a defensive position to ensure this doesn't turn into a complete rout and the Germans can't just roll over him easily. And also setting up something just protecting anti-tank and so he can more safely move it out there. So overall, I think... Oh, smoke screen down there. Interesting. I'm not entirely sure why he threw down the smoke screen there, but I'm guessing he was just setting up for the infantry to move forward there. I wasn't expecting the anti-tank gunners. I don't think he's thrown down the smoke screen there, but he was clearly expecting the point to be covered, thus letting down the smoke screen with a mortar. So, again, to an extent, good work there, but a few surprises, ultimately ruining a bit the entire thing there for Zerg. Then again, if you're going to hit the flame for a half-tick anyways, I know. So overall, the ends up the smoke not fully making sense. We got Dark Toll choice there for Zerg. It is Ostrom. Normally, you don't see it like at 9 minutes. It's usually sort of more like, you know, right at the start, you want Ostrom out, you go. You rarely see it like later into the game, anyone choosing Ostrom. So that's a bit more of a curious one there by Zerg. Pioneers moving up. We got 5 sections, obviously one on the tank hunter section, but it's a lot of infantry here from, and there you go, quick rough grenade there, landing and causing huge harm and grief amongst the British infantrymen, leaving many dead, dying. As they charge forwards there again, mill bombs like going to go off here. Double Mills bomb, that's a bit expensive, but nope, oh, how he throws them. Bit staggered, hoping, you know, he's not going to make a full trip, just trying to sort of dodge them, and that's running into the second set of grenades. So that was a bit sort of more finicky trait there. More interestingly now popping here. No, probably he's not popping it there, despite, in a sense, being safer to an extent. I mean, there's not so many forces, but at the same time, he's actually got forces there, which can defend it. Still, it is theoretically a bit risky. I mean, his machine gun is far, there's mechanics and supports in theory, and his opponent could rush the fuel point and grab something there, though that's not happening. So it looks like he went for Ostrom simply for the supply drop zone. Very interesting there, very interesting. So it's reinforcing healing, so he's actually planning it to rush out to medium army. Got another smoke screen down here, probably to prevent his opponent from just fully suppressing the machine gun, but also, harassing him while he's trying to grab the fuel. So again, good consistent use of smoke, which tends to be, one of Zerg's hallmarks, as a player sort of found, which also makes him interesting to comment on. Again, that first one was a bit weird, I have to say that. But there you go, trying to pass through the smoke, instead gets encountered there by the MG42, waiting. Mortified joining in as well. Losing the western fuel point, which he fought, not very hard for. We can see there again, HermanGoering, though, is handling this, I think, very sort of fluidly and again solidly. Again, he's not trying to bash his way through there. Again, he's looking for where the Germans aren't and then attacking through there. So, I mean, overall, tactically solid play there by HermanGoering, fluid and, not trying to bash his head through a wall, hoping that somehow his skull will prove superior to masonry. Meanwhile, though, we got the M3 half-track out there. Though technically, I don't think the Brits would have had a lot of them, because like the Soviets, they handed out the M5 half-track, which was inferior due to sort of, well, not as good armour. For some reason, Relic decided they needed the M3 half-track, I don't know. But that was primarily just stuck to the Americans because, well, it was better, and they obviously kept the best stuff for themselves. Almost got to wipe every rifle grenade on the section. Rifle grenades can be really good against British infantry sections if your opponent is not paying attention. Certainly lost quite a few sections myself to rifle grenades. It's also, one of the reasons why bursting sections can be helpful, since it makes you less vulnerable. But overall, I mean, if you sort of consider how HermanGoering is playing, I mean, he's sort of making the right choice again. He wants to play aggressively with infantry. He's bolted the section. He's gone for grenades. Both of these things, sort of really work with it. Plus, he's now using docks in the last just to get Vickers Cage, which also worked pretty well. Up here, the attack on the position, running some issues there. Almost lost the M3. Didn't pull it enough far away, but still doing a bit of work there for King and Country. Alright, chaps, I have to get out of here. This thing's got too many holes. Rubbish stuff, Section charging up against the Grenadiers there. Mills bombs ready in hands to flush out those hands. There it goes straight through the window. Not the best throw, but still gets Port Otto there, knocking the stuffing out of him. Zerg, to an extent, feels a bit defensive. But again, the way HermanGoering's just got more infantry than Zerg is helping a bit with that, and Zerg hasn't competed with the machine gun. But on the other hand, again, it's also because, well, he's clearly been rushing for medium armor, so obviously again that puts him a bit on the defensive, since he can't afford to both be really aggressive and go for a tank easily unless he gets a huge advantage. Back here though, half-tech waiting repairs, but he's got no sappers, by the way. Panzer IV, they're almost done there for Zerg and the 9th Panzer Division. And there you go, we got the Vickers K out there. The Vickers K was primarily sort of, I think, meant for like specialist elite units and always mounted on certain vehicles and the like. I don't think they actually handed it out to basic infantry. That would have been primarily the, Bren gun. And even I think the British, elite commander units and the likes, I think would have most likely used an American light machine gun for that express purpose. There was known as the Johnson light machine gun, which was the American FG-42 in a sense. There you go, pursuing the half-track. Gets it, bit of loss there for HermanGoering. Didn't get, I think, a lot of it. We got the tank 100 moving in there. Quick anti-tank grenade against the Panzer IV. Does a bit of damage, but not enough. Huge push here with just a ton of sections. And Zerg is not risking it here. There you go. Lands a good hit, though. Men caught up by the barbed wire, just mangled corpses. And this is why you need to be careful about blobbing about around Panzer IVs or any other sort of vehicle that can sort of hurt infantry quite bad. Yes, you can risk up the situation like that where your opponent just gets a lot of dead people on his hands. Mortified there, landing a further hit there for the German army. Grenadiers advancing, noting here that Zerg has not upgrading a lot of his Grenadiers yet. More smoke there. Again, very thorough. I mean, sometimes you just, making a bit of weird smoke is good because it trains you just to use your smoke faster and more reactively. And when you can sort of do that, you can sort of, think about using it better. So, I mean, that's just, one suggestion on how to get better with use smoke. Just use it when you can. Just force yourself to use it, and then sort of at some point you sort of just use it automatically to an extent you don't have to think so much about it. Then you can use it better. I mean, that's how a lot of, some training go, you just keep doing it until you can do it well. Sometimes has to be a bit mindless. But there you go, and it is wiped. He caught up by the huge infantry horde there. Raft grenade, though, extinguished a full unit there. Certainly highlighting here that HermanGoering is now seemingly ending up blobbing, which is definitely, not something I recommend or applaud. But also certainly something Zerg is so far having a good job punishing quite hard there, as you saw. But it's still proving quite nasty, and certainly even more nasty because HermanGoering is one of those more, shall we say, astute blobbers who knows how to sort of blob more efficiently, which is, don't try to blob straight into where the defense is hardest, but actually trying to find weak spots, and that way suddenly overwhelm them from a blind spot there, which tend to be sort of where the blobs are actually nastiest. Not when they're sort of running straight at you from where you're expecting it, but when they're suddenly appearing up from an angle you did not expect them. That's where they can really be absolutely devastating. He's also not taking up, which could indicate he might actually be playing for a crocodile, which seems a bit, in some ways, risky, but I'm guessing it's going to try and rely on the critical mass of the blob, or at least just the infantry assaults that are carrying through, but blob's sort of wearing off there, that's good. So he could consider an Osman here to help deal with all the infantry that's sort of being tossed at him. This time those Penta ones up when the damage end, you got the anti-tank moving in. Section push force to catch the mortar off guard. You need to go not to win too far without any support. Smoke's been down there. Bit too late, bit too far. Penta 4, they're taking heavy damage. Tank hunters moving in. Their section moving up through the west side here. No covering flank there. Not a lot of mines, by the way, here from Zerg. That's something you, by the way, could consider versus HermanGoering, since he's got no sappers, meaning he'd have to be surprisingly vulnerable to mines. And this is dealing with the advancing Tommies. The section moving forwards there. Casualties appearing. More damage to the Penta 4 misguided here. Sections rushed off. MD4 took line counterfire as well there. Anti-tank guns, sections coming up there as well, just big assault, but looks like you might not need any anti-tank gun. The tank hunters they could do it with their boys' anti-tank rifles, which, from my understanding, apparently wasn't that good at all. But there you go, Penta 4 goes down. Another smoke screen there, though, again. Also a good thing to know about the smoke barrage is the cooldown is actually really low. Like, a regular barrage takes some time to cool off, but smoke is like 10 seconds, so you can just very quickly just lay down a lot of smoke very fast if you need to. So you're less punished for just, even making a bad smoke barrage, you can quickly lay down another one. Certainly some pretty heavy threats there from HermanGoering against Zerg, but Zerg is, I think, handling it also quite well. Going for another Penta 4 there, he's still, I think, very much focused on the possibility of, HermanGoering rushing out some kind of medium armor, but it seems like, again, he might be aiming for the crocodile here. So in that sense, he could actually benefit more from just pushing an Osman now, following up the Stooks and using the Osman to punish all of the infantry. HermanGoering though maintaining over aggressive map control again, thanks to just the sheer number of infantrymen he's got. Machine gun there, they're being flanked here. Vickers K machine guns, in fact, got double of them. Really dangerous there, doing a lot of damage. Rifle needs dots, but the loss of the MD42 is certainly going to hurt Zerg. But there you go, Pioneer's flanking up behind it. At the same time, going to push it, but Pioneer's running straight into more. Vickers K, light machine gun grenades off on the mortar. Canadies appearing there with an LMG42. Mortar wiped as well, certainly some heavy casualties appearing here for Zerg. Nothing from his doctrine there besides that one supply drop, no officer. Not even Ostrom, just, get him just some field presence, just grab weapons and territory with. But there you go, second Penta 4 there for Zerg, and the 9th Panzer Division. Shots fired, missed horrifically. And there you go, full sections on the run there for HermanGoering. The Panzer's too much for them. That's a full route here. Machine gun remaining there, could try and push a bit further up the eastern side, try to cut off Zerg from his fuel. But no sign of that as of yet. Pushing up the west side with the Grenadier for the German army. He needs to get that mortar back in line as well. And we got a second half track out here for HermanGoering and the 52nd Infantry Division. He certainly likes that half track, which is certainly more than most people actually end up going for the doctrine do. I mean, they barely utilise the half track. So I mean, that's neat to see. But again, being able to double equip the sections with double Vickers Ks is certainly encouraging some rather brutish tactics, which again are not going to be, the fun thing of most players. Another MD42 would be helpful there for Zerg to help counter this, I feel. Or an Ostwind. But at this stage, he must be starting to figure if his opponent might just be in for a Crocodile as well, and thusly once we get prepared for that. But there you go, we got the second MD42. He just needs to be careful how to position it, because the thing is, a light machine gun blob can actually be surprisingly effective at clearing out a machine gun out in the open. Even if it's suppressed, then the sheer number of light machine guns can then just, even with just the sort of initial suppressor bonus, actually tear apart a machine gun. That's also one of the less considered things about light machine gun blobs. They can be really good at tearing apart heavy machine guns if they're not in heavy cover, and even heavy cover, some of them can risk running to prone. But there you go. It's less of a blob now, sort of more spread out infantry assault. That's better. Then again, he still has to manage a lot of infantry, so there are still risks. He's clearly not expecting it, though. And again, I mean, you know, I do have to give him credit for this. I mean, again, HermanGoering is good to sort of suss out where Zerg isn't quite ready, you know, expecting, and then just hit there from an angle. Again, he's not ready for him. There you go again. All of a sudden, again, his rear line's exposed. And again, you can see that the Vickers cage could just, in a matter of moments, wipe out the pack crew. 6-pounder gun supporting the assault as well here. So all of a sudden his base is under threat. There are a lot of support weapons under threat. We've got the infantry coming up here though. Quick suppressing two of the sections. Good work there by Zerg. In the south, the MD42 moving in as well to catch the section from another side. Good flank there with the MD42. And looks like he's going to try and deeper flank with the Panzer IV. He's also smoking down here. Really good counter response here from Zerg to HermanGoering's movements. There you go. Double sections pulled back. You can see that he's not going for full route though. He's trying to fall back. He knows if he gets fully routed, he's going to be in a very nasty spot. But there you go. Section running off. But he's continuing here with the deep flank with the Panzer IV. Zerg though needs to be careful not to extend too far though. He's risking losing the Panzer IV. But there you go. Grenadiers attack from the front. This is where Panzer Grenadiers will be great because they're much better on the move than regular Grenadiers. But there you go. MD42 sitting right to deal with that. Rough grenade off here. A lot of high intensive action here, maneuvering and counter maneuvering. This is great stuff, great stuff. Troops falling back here, 6-pounder gun trying to set up, but again can't safely, need to get the machine gun in position. And right here we can also see a bit of difference between these two players. Again, both tactically very sound, but Zerg is clearly, I think, better at using machine guns than HermanGoering. Section right there, tank hunter section down again. Grenadiers moving from the north, we got the Vickers finally setting up. Half-tech trying to support, but feels a bit late there. Can also reinforce section, does get around to it. Grenadiers are pushed back. Vickers firing away there. Wipes the Grenadier squad though. Panzer IV flank behind, using the house for cover. Very good. Exposing the anti-tank group, in fact, forcing it to be exposed. Also very nice. They need to reinforce it using the half-tech, but HermanGoering apparently isn't very good at that. Crocodile arriving here. That's going to throw off Zerg here. Grenadiers attacking from the front now. Just rain, chaos, and confusion reigns. Crocodile moving normal spot. They're going to need to retreat. Ooh. Crocodile letting hit from the Panzer IV. Anti-tank not supporting. 6-pounder gun shoots. They're landing a good hit on the Panzer IV. Ooh, that was quite the battle, ladies and gentlemen. That was quite the battle. Shug on the way there for Zerg to counter the Crocodile. Very good, very good. Panzer IV shooting, bouncing off the front there of the Churchill, which was heavily armoured. I think there's like 150mm of armour, making it very thickly armoured. Pack 45 at the Crocodile. Pioneers been up support. Pack 40 that's going to die in a matter of moments. I mean, it's in heavy cover in essence, and you know, burning away there with its bonuses. Stug though still some time away. They're going to try and flank out. They're Panzerfaust, very brave there by Zerg. Damage into the Crocodile. That's going to slow down HermanGoering's advance. There you go. Infantry quickly following up there. Half to goal to their supporting. Veterans who won, carrying the anti-tank and infantry providing support there. Keeping up momentum of HermanGoering's assault there. He keeps up there with the Crocodile, and he probably should consider actually pulling back. He might not be expecting a Stug, but to be honest, he should. Panzer IV though flanking behind there. He's a bit risky there against the anti-tank gun, but him actually shooting at the anti-tank, I notice he forced order it to do it, so he won't be able to immediately just target the Panzer IV. Very good work there. Now it's trying to deal with the Panzer IV, but now the Stug attack from the north here, catching off there the Crocodile. But he's actually going to focus on the half-tech first, which I think is the better choice, because the half-tech is going to be much more easily able to get away here than the Crocodile. And there you go, deeper flank with the Panzer IV. Holy moly. That is some nice counter-flanking there by Zerg. And there you go, Stug dodging the anti-tank and artillery running down here from HermanGoering to carry up his retreat, but it's not quite working out. And the Crocodile goes down, Mortify landing amongst the sections here. Chaos and confusion. But Zerg handles it reasonably well, but lost a lot there to the artillery. Your opponent was trying to manage too much, then suffered horrifically. He's down to just 2 machine guns, a Grenadier squad, a mortar, and his armor. Whereas HermanGoering still has got most of his armor there. So this is quickly getting ugly for both players. I mean, trying to manage all that much while the artillery raining down was perhaps, again, too much there for Zerg. So, despite those losses, again, I think the artillery here basically has given HermanGoering another lease at victory here. Because had he not gotten some heavy hits again, I think really gutted Zerg there. I mean, Zerg could have just quickly moved on, I think, taken most of the map and destroyed HermanGoering. But certainly Zerg has proven himself to be, I think, quite adept at sort of counter-attacking, just, you know, punishing his opponent for not covering his flanks while attacking. I mean, that was some pretty great stuff there, though HermanGoering is also in many ways an aggressive attacker who also knows to an extent how to pull off an attack. Though I do think once the Crocodile they ended up with a damaged engine, he should have tried to pull back instead of constantly committing to the assault. That I think was HermanGoering getting a bit too greedy, perhaps underestimating Zerg a bit too much. Grabbing the victory point, their sections moving in. Again, double Vickers K, 20 kills for King and Country. And there you go, heavy machine gun fire there, raking them, suppressing them. HermanGoering not too far off from an he's always got the fuel, he just basically needs for the cooldown to wear off, and then he probably also have the manpower for it, as long as he doesn't suffer any needless infantry losses. Zerg, though, still not doing a lot with his doctrine. He could easily just, you know, throw in some Ostrom, just, you know, to quickly fill up his rank, take some points, even secure some weapons. I mean, we got the Vickers K there lying about, courtesy of the British Royal Army. Mortar finals like out the section up here, Panzer IV being repaired. More pioneers on the way there for Zerg and the 9th Panzer Division. 6-pounder gun for HermanGoering to replace what lost to those dastardly Huns. Back here, reinforcement, no healing. You might want to consider a bit of that. Stug, next target of repairs here. Zerg, though, has lost most of the map there, because he's been too focused just repairing his stuff and consolidating, and lack infantry, so he can't actually, you know, make any sort of big pushes because most of the others had the support weapons or pioneers. But there you go, Grenadiers with a light machine gun, MG42, and of course the Vickers K, opening out for them, having a lot of firepower to bring to bear. And there you go, the Panzer IV good to go. We can see Zerg cannot get more aggressive. He can support the Panzer IV with machine guns to the pioneers. That way, you know, actually moving here to grab some territory away from the Tommies. Meanwhile, HermanGoering setting up here again. He knows where the stuff is happening. So again, instead of trying to attack into it, he's got plenty of territory. It looks like he's going to do what he did last week. He's set up for here and again, hit behind, hitting the CoH points, and denying, you know, any real efforts. That way, also hitting the weaker support units, because again, Zerg does not have a lot of support weapons. But there you go. Seems like he spotted it, just sensed it either way, shifting position to stop it. Panzer also moving in. So he's starting to learn here how HermanGoering attacks, and of course, HermanGoering pro attack from that. There you go. Double grenades again. Wiping the machine gun in a matter of moments here. Going after the Panzer IV with the tank, anti-tank rifles there, anti-tank gun following up, section there, wiping out the Grenadiers, both flat machine guns shot as well. Good golly.
Enemy threatening a capture point.
Can't pick up. His men are too heavily equipped there. Still, quite a loss there for Zerg, who's got no infantry left now, and he's moving straight on to the Panzergrenadier. I mean, certainly any Austrian and regular Grenadiers, I think, could run into a lot of trouble here versus HermanGoering with all those light machine guns up and all that veterancy. Even the Panzergrenadiers will struggle, but they do have a few advantages if used correctly. Mortifying where they're trying to destroy the anti-tank, and they're hidden away in the fortification and emplacement, or whatever you'd call it. Infantry pushing forwards, despite in some cases being rather low on numbers and health. I think that might be pushing a bit much there for HermanGoering, but pushing nonetheless does. Grenades off the mortar, Panzer's moving ahead here. Gonna probably try and focus down that unit. Mortar, ooh, got lucky there, got bang grenade. Almost got a section of weapon retreat. Nice throw there by Zerg, and the 9th Panzer showing the Panzer IV that needs to fall back. Risks losing it, smoking down the anti-tank gun. Sehr good. And now, after all this time, well, not that much time really, a second Crocodile has been brought up here by HermanGoering and the 52nd Infantry Division to once more clear the lines and trenches of Germans. Zerg, though, bringing up a second Panzergrenadier squad. He's really bringing up the tough assault infantry to clear out those blasted Englishmen. Hard work here for the Panzer IV, closing in a veterancy too. Crocodile rolling ahead. Quick yourself feeling there for the Panzergrenadier. Stug setting out. Healing reinforcement there for HermanGoering. You really, though, should consider taking up so you can support the Crocodile with more regular armour. Cromwells, Fireflies, Comets, regular Churchills, here's something. Panzer IV there, good to go as well now for Zerg, giving him further mobility. Though again, 2 Panzer Grenadier Scorch will certainly not do quite a lot for him. But otherwise, though, I still feel like he should be using his doctrine a bit more actively. Moving towards the centre, they got the Crocodile opening up. Burning away, Panzer IV hanging back. And there you go, got machine gun block again appearing. Machine gun in this case in light cover, so most of the shots are avoided. But still, as you can see, they just continued shattering fire there. Immediately forcing retreat there from Zerg because his machine gun was not immediately pointing towards. Got the Panzer IV moving in there to deal with it. The Vickers case will only bounce off against the Panzer IV's mighty armour. Of course, it's like just going to bring up the anti-tank gun to support them versus the Panzer IV. Panzer guns in the east are suppressed or back at base for reinforcements. He's going to need some armor. He's going to need a smoke screen there to break through here. Though again, he is competently enough to able to use smoke screens, so that could very well be the actual option there. Now the Panzer IV on the way there for Zerg. That gets the appearance of the Crocodile. They also meant he could go from Ostwind to just help deal with infantry more specifically. I mean, all these sections would very much, you know, be punished by an Ostwind or two, as long as they're well handled. If not, obviously they're going to be quite useless. So could also benefit from adding a machine gun to a Stug. Map control there back in the hands of Hermann Goering and the 52nd. No one's picked up that light machine gun laying about there amidst the German corpses. Smokescreen here though. That's the infantry tank through there. I'm guessing at some kind of plan there, so he wants us up for something, but it seems like the time for the smokescreen was a bit weird there for Zerg. Bit weird. Pioneers need to retreat though, need to retreat. And there you go, Crocodile supporting the advanced Pioneers there. Wiped, stood no chance against that huge infantry support there from Hermann Goering. Machine gun opening up, more to Panzer IV. Needs to get shooting the other Panzer IV as well. Panzer IV could try and flank behind. Turning attack head on, I think it's not going to work out. The shooting suppressed. Panzer IV opening up. There we go. Target weak point on the Crocodile. We got the mortar. The white machine gun could be next to Panzer IV opening up. There we go. Penetrating hit. Panzer IV moving in here. Stug supporting. Panzer IV's also moving. We got artillery raining down again here from Hermann going around the base, trying to take out the machine gun. Panzer IV going for deeper flank. Panzer IV is dying in here. Getting some shots in there from the British. But still using the runes of the shed to get a bit closer behind there. Panzer IV, by the way, focusing the anti-tank, and since that's a bigger priority. Very good work there. Stug then following up to go for the Crocodile. Panzer continue ahead, but there you go. This being wiped out. Too much fire in this case. Actual fire as well. Doing too much damage. There's a one Panzer squad almost gone. In fact, he's barely got anything left now. Panzer IV, they're actually going after the Crocodile. Stug joining in as well. Panzer they're almost wiped out. So the infantry element here didn't quite work out. They should have tried focusing down the infantry from another range instead of trying to ignore them entirely. I guess they completely backfired on Zerg there, whatever they planned. Panzer IV's doing to do with infantry. Stug, other Panzer IV going for the Crocodile. Almost got it. But he's going to need more Panzer Grenadiers desperately. And there you go. It got abandoned! An abandoned Crocodile! I believe that's the first time I've seen that. I sincerely hope Zerg tries to steal it. Oh, I mean, reclaim it for the fatherland, yeah. This is now property of Germany, yeah. And what should we call it? We should call it the Fat Hermann, because it's really big and heavy. Just like Churchill. You're so witty, Klaus. Yeah, I know. I got voted second funniest man in Wittgenstein, you know. Anyways, machine gun the dealing with the Pioneers and these not being prioritized towards salvaging the Crocodile field. That's a mistake by Zerg. Again, I mean, really, if that had been me, I'd just prioritized everything towards scrapping that thing so I could punish my opponent for it. But there you go, Panzer is finally being the owner with the Vickers K, going for another one there. Machine gun fun being pushed back by the Panzer IVs. For some reason, they don't seem to target very well or track very well for some reason. One of that's a bug of some sort, because it's not like they've been told to prioritize vehicles, so there's no reason for them not to, you know, target the bloody machine gun crews. Once rushing up there for Hermann Goering, they're certainly proving to be quite a lethal, nasty bunch. We got 32 kills in one section. Stug Vetri 2, that's pretty good. But it's going to need some serious repairs. Machine gun reinforcing. Panzers need repairs. Still no recruiting of the crowd. I mean, if you just done it as soon as possible, and you're going to call in some Ostrom to do, they could just probably up and out, have at least halfway up towards there, rather than now it's still there, and you've got anti-tank guns getting close there. There you go, need to retreat everything. Wiksuk! Wiksuk! There you go, Panzer's retreating, need to go one way. Out in the open there, on the wrong side, on the next cover, there's again Vickers K-wielding sections. Too late there for Zerg. Need to keep on just swing these kind of light machine gun forces, as again, they can do a lot of damage very quickly. Panzer's lost, Crocodile lost, bit of a loss there for Zerg. They did do some damage to the section, but again, I think he could have salvaged that Crocodile had he been a bit more intent on it. Probably also would have wasted away those Panzer grenades. So that feels a bit like a waste by Zerg. Got the anti-tank and doing away with it quickly, but he might lose the Panzer IV here to the anti-tank rifle. In fact, he's got 2 squads now with them, threatening to take apart the Panzer very quickly if they can hit or penetrate. Anti-tank recruit right under the Panzer IV, but he gets the one that was damaged. Bit of a loss there for Zerg and the 9th Panzer Division. They've still got the one here. The almost veteran 3-1. Both machine guns by the centre. They've been in interesting position there by HermanGoering, but ultimately overcome the German Panzermight and rushed away. But so those forces are certainly depleted, but then again, so HermanGoering, so though has finally decided now is the time to take up. He could have done that so much sooner. I think he'd also done some more nastier things to his opponent. But at least it's finally happening, but it does feel rather belated there. Zerg, though, needs to replenish his ranks again. Honestly, at this point, even just a few awesome squads I think could do a lot of good there for him. I mean, obviously not going to be able to stand up to the section, but they'll just allow him to grab territory, which I think is what he needs to do. Then, of course, just also have to draw away fire from any Panzer grenades if necessary. Almost got a section there, very, very supremely close there to Veteran T3. When we get that to an ace level, that would do Zerg and the 9th Panzer to be shown good.
Work to construct a new company command post is finished.
He's still not repairing the Stug, though. I definitely feel that's a mistake there by Zerg. That is definitely a mistake. That should be a priority. Just getting that Veteran 2 Stug back in proper action. And possibly throwing a machine gun. That would still benefit a lot as well. Meanwhile, though, HermanGoering enforcing healing his forces. He's not got so much map control now. Again, there's increasingly large amount of armour from Zerg, which he can't quite deal with. Partly because he keeps going for crocodiles and you know, ending up getting them destroyed. Because he underestimates Zerg's ability to deal with them, it seems. More pioneers there for Zerg. Repairing the Panzer. I mean, that's also obviously a good priority to target, but you know, you shouldn't forget the Stug, the mighty Stug. Tank hunters moving up here. Also, I'm reasonably sure they never would have used anti-tank rifles by 1944-45 when they're utterly desperate. I mean, that would have been home guard in case the Germans suddenly lost, you know, a surprise invasion of England in 1944-45. Somehow. Pretty sure they just stuck with Piets, to be honest, but oh well.
The enemy is determined, and we are down to 300 points.
Flank here would be pretty good. Stug being repaired finally. Endlich. He still needs more infantry though. No sign of armor there from HermanGoering. He could soon go for Cromwell, but he probably going to need something like a Comet or Fireflies to really be able to challenge all of these Panzer IVs and Stug. I mean, a single Cromwell would very likely find himself quickly focused down. I mean, that's sort of one of the issues again with having relied on so much on Crocodiles again. It's rather left him with no real infrastructure for medium tanks by now, as again Zerg has sort of gotten it fairly utilised out. Then again, actually get stuff to stick, so it basically means now if HermanGoering does go for medium armour, it's going to be a bit outclassed on a few levels, so it's a bit not too good there. But he still has a lot of infantry in that regard. Of course, he does an advantage, in particular because it's veteran infantry that's been heavily upgraded, whereas again Zerg has barely got anything. He's got a Firefly on the way there, 17-pounder gun, a mounted Sherman tank. That could be useful. HermanGoering, though, less aggressive maneuvering about his infantry now. Again, he's taking a lot of beatings there. He's probably lost a lot of tempo and momentum. And he's feeling less dominant here versus Zerg and the 9th Panzer Division. As Zerg has proven himself quite adept at deflecting some of HermanGoering's assaults and punishing for them. As we recruit the mortar, he could definitely, I think, benefit from that. required here by both sides. HermanGoering bringing up that Firefly, quickly equipping them with tulip rockets and tank commander. They're good to go. Zerg waiting for something to happen here from his opponent. I mean, I don't think Zerg right now wants to risk it by launching an all-out assault and then getting caught off guard. I mean, he knows how HermanGoering to extent plays, so he's probably trying to sort of build up reserves to then actually withstand the next big assault from HermanGoering and then punish it. And there you go. The next big assault is happening. They've got a lot of section with this time rather than anti-tank guns. We got the Firefly supporting it. A lot more anti-tank firepower on one platform. We also got machine gun bunkers going up there for Zerg. That's actually pretty good. They're helping defend the vital points to make it a bit harder, in fact, for HermanGoering just to rush about his infantry. In this case, it's actually hidden behind the shed, so I'm not entirely sure. Can he actually see it? I don't think he can. He can't actually see it. I mean, you can see there's sort of a gap here, which in theory could also be a trench, but he can't. Interesting. Kind of looks like a trench here, but it's more like a bunker, but still. You can't actually see it behind the shed. The shed actually provides a bit of surprise on them, and their panzers are caught by the huge machine gun wielding blob. He's clearly also not just turning more and more to blobs. I mean, a lot of his initial infantry assaults, had something nice, but he's just increasingly relying on raw power versus Zerg, running an sort of deeper attacks with flanks and other elements. It's just going to be one brutish fist of machine guns and anti-tank rifles. Well, there you go, splits out a bit. Firefly supporting, and in this case, it's going to be a bit surprised that there's a machine gun bunker covered by another machine gun. I mean, I think you can see there, it being mustered up to cover. There you go, Firefly opening up on the bunker, misses though. Stuke moving in, needs to be a bit careful with that. The Panzerforce in fact go for a flank here, get behind the Firefly, may knock it out. There goes section being dealt with. Good flank there by Zerg using his armor. I mean, I really have to give him credit for that. I mean, he's actually good at launching armored flanks there. Instead of just darting straight into where the attack is directed, he tries to hit the attack from the angle it doesn't expect. But there you go. Ace Panther 4 there needs to target me, but he doesn't have the resources for it. Oh, he could lose the Panther 4. The Ace Panther 4. Scheiße, the tank hunter's moving in. Oh my god. He got the Firefly, but the Ace Panther 4 is going to go down, I fear. Moving in the Panther 4 there to try and crush them, prevent them from getting up shots there. Can't quite move up supporting infantry because it's occupied there by the bridge. Oh no, he got the machine gun there. But he loses the ace. Quite a loss there for Zerg, but still, he's been able to do a lot of damage there to him and going again, knocking out the Firefly and a lot of infantry. Plus stealing a machine gun. But at the same time, he's shifted some of his other elements towards attacking the west. They're doing some damage, but ultimately not making any real progress before Zerg can then move in his Panzer Reserve to crash them. Well, his remaining Panzer Reserve, so they did lose the ace. And the Stuke, oh, that's finally been upgraded with a light machine gun as well. That's good. That is good.
Anti-tank gun and crew now ready for action.
6-pounder gun out there for HermanGoering. Troop ceiling reinforcing. Repairing the bunker. Panzer 4 on the way there for Zerg. More pioneers for Zerg. Not a lot of infantry though. It seems like he's relying more and more on the machine guns and of course his Panzer Force. Well, he's got 3 machine guns now, so that's not going to be too bad. No additional sign of armor there from HermanGoering. Panzer opening up the eastern straight from the machine gun there, getting the eastern half of the map. Good. Panzer opening up the advancing infantry, machine gun, and Stuke providing carrying fire there if necessary.
200 points remaining.
Apparently the Stuke crew can't be bothered. This is beneath us. What are you, Otto? French? How dare you? So HermanGoering here again, not quite as confident as he used to be, not quite as bold. Certainly less sure about how to go about it. Strengthen the machine gun bunker, though, is going to use the anti-tank to clear out, saying I'm trying to launch a flank. There we got a Panzer moving from one side, could attack from armor with infantry from another side as well. that way sandwiching his forces. Second machine gun joining up as well. They're pretty much just halting down his entire blob. So it seems like increasingly Zerg has got a pretty good fix of HermanGoering's tactics and how to counter them, and that's certainly only making things less good here for HermanGoering as he finds his men being crushed beneath the treads of the panzers.
We've lost an anti-tank gun.
So that's another anti-tank gun lost to the Germans. I think it's his third anti-tank gun. Actually check here. No, by the way, a lot of kills, a lot of damage.
Our capture point.
No, he actually has lost 4. I mean, obviously against his produced 5, lost 5, which, but oh, that also counts as he cruised them. But he's like produced 4, then means he also lost 4. So that's quite nasty there. Hammer tactics. No, that's an interesting choice there by HermanGoering, though. I can't help but feel a bit late. He would have benefited much better from it sooner. Particularly had, you know, thrown away that first crocodile. So I do feel like there's been some issues there strategically for HermanGoering, where Zerg, I think, has been a bit more in control here versus the British player. HoH2 just hanging back, and he's going for a heavy panzer core now. That's an interesting decision. I'm guessing he's going to be aiming for Sturmpanzer because, I mean, his opponent is blobbing up an awful lot, and in that regard, you know, Sturmpanzer going pretty good. And there you go, moving in there. As you can notice there again, the machine gun is very rapidly losing life. Again, it's struggling a bit. They're trying to suppress the blob as it hits, and there you go, white in a matter of seconds. Because they're joining in as well, so bit of loss there for Zerg, but you have to be careful about positioning machine guns when your opponent begins blobbing up. But there you go. Got the Panzer Force win, and again, note he's not going straight at the blob, he's sort of trying to sort of flank and maybe hit some exposed elements. So that's working out better there for Zerg. We can see the active split start, leaving the tank hunter to deal with the Panzer Force. Got one engine damage there, but the other Panzer Force, though, can't keep fighting versus the tank hunters, but he decides not to fully commit there. Got the MT-42 there, virtually free supporting, in theory. Panzer Grenadiers all the way in the west. And we got artillery called in instead now here by Zerg for once, not HermanGoering. And he's destroying the machine gun there with anti-tank rifles. Straight on the fuel point. That's definitely one way of doing things. Paying up to Panzerkampfwagen 4. HermanGoering then connected, call in the Comet now. It does again feel a bit belated there for HermanGoering. It does feel a bit belated, but there you go. Comet on the way there. Support from the 11th Armoured Division. For the 52nd, we got mines being laid down. That's also something I think HermanGoering could have benefited from much sooner. Oh, he hasn't finished it. Oh dear. Zerg hasn't finished it. He only began building it and then didn't finish it.
Enemy threatening a cap. HQ is under attack. Typical enemy trick, isn't it?
I think he was a local government official. Pioneers first here by the machine gun bunker. And then go back to working up the heavy panzer corps. A lot of bunkers now, but Zerg. You got 3 machine gun bunkers all in all. Not bad. And there you go. Comet out for HermanGoering. Can this turn the tide? With a bit of good luck and some offensive attacks, maybe. Maybe. Also nice harassment here from Zerg. Very nice. Lovely. Still feels too short on infantry for my tastes. But at this point, again, I think he's aiming for the Sturmpanzer. I mean, he could in theory also go for the Panther, but there's an opponent that's blobbing. A Sturmpanzer is a pretty solid choice. 6 opponent gun again there for HermanGoering. Sturmpanzer on the way there for Zerg, and the 9th Panzer to be shown to bash their way through the British. really fight the regular. It's just the infantry doing it on their own. It's occasionally like troops will just automatically at times just fight the strangest things. As you've occasionally seen in episodes like where machine gun just begins firing away at a house for no reason. But they're going before two waiting up there, quickly holding up the British assault there. The lack of smoke is not helping out Hermann Goering. The lack of smoke is not helping out at all with his attacks. Though again, he does have access there. If you actually use the smoke from the Comet, hello. Again, not a lot of British players actually use the smoke shells there, but that was actually pretty good there by Hermann Goering. If only he'd gone for a crumble sooner for him just to be able to fire the smoke shells, for example, who knows how would have happened here. Trying to push through. Still not be able to get the machine. We can see this Zerg real positions it. Very good. Panzer's making note there again. It doesn't attack straight into the attack itself. I mean, again, that's what a lot of sort of players will do, even high-ranked players. But no, it's actually trying to attack the attack from its own flanks. Or not in this case, now switching it back into the path of the attack to slow it down. Not a fan of that one, though. Not a fan of that one. Again, I think should just kept it up here. Count the units off guard here, and then sort of go straight. There goes Stuke firing at the rear of the Comet. Target weak point there. And then now splitting the Panzer IV through the assault units getting pinned down there. As again, the assault's now losing all steam. Got artillery called in here by Hammond going on it. Comet or Panzer IV back from the Comet. We've also got troops here coming up the retreat path, trying to put as many units as they can there away from Hermann Goering. Stuke there, ace level. Sturmpanzer arriving there for Zerg and the 9th Panzer Division. Comet moving back in there. It's a last ditch sort of thing there by him. Also got the tank hunter section there. It's actually well played, but that's never mind. And now he's just left for the Comet and the 6th Pentagon in the assault here. Sturmpanzer, Panzer IV. Panzer going to do Stuke moving in here. Going to attack here from the rear. Comet there down to half health, but the Panzer IV, there you go, goes down just as it hits Svetchny 2. Stuke moving up behind him, flanking the Comet. There you go, landing a good hit. And, oh, gets abandoned. Artillery raining down here. And there you go, good hit on the anti-tank group running from shooting, but there you go, lands it on the Stuke. Panzer trunking up, there you go. And with this, Hammond Goering surrenders his will, and the 52nd Invasion shattered like glass upon the mighty iron fist of Germany. So there you go. A brutal 1-1 engagement. I think with a lot of clever tactics and strategies and flanking, particularly from Zerg, you know, smokes, counter flanks, you know, actually do that way instead of just charging in to get to the head on to the assault, but again, some players like to do. He actually sort of try to head around there, forcing the attack to only have to worry about its own flanks, which can actually cause, you know, a lot of momentum and also just concentration. That we're doing a lot of damage, but also, you know, increasing the chance of actually wiping out retreating units from the attacks. There's a lot of good plays there from Zerg and Hermann Goering. Also, I think displayed a good aptitude for attacking strategically again. He got too focused on the crocodiles, which really hurt him long term because, again, he couldn't bring up his own medium armor, which probably would have helped him a lot. You know, again, crumbles with smoke screens or smoke shells, I think, could have done a lot there for some of Hermann Goering's assault. Plus, as the game went on, again, he lost a lot of finesse and resorted more and more to blobbing to carry his way through his opponent, which ultimately made it easier for Zerg to actually counter and slow down there. So, you know, it lost a bit of sort of steam to an extent at the mid to late game, but there was still some, I think, pretty interesting engagement between the two. But I think a pretty good engagement, highlighting what you can do there with the Wehrmacht and to an extent the British. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something from it. If you didn't, subscribe, like, share, and comment on it. Of course, also a big thanks to my Patreon supporters for supporting me as always. Big thanks to you. They are allowing me to keep doing this day after day. And if you'd like to support me, you can consider either Patreon or PayPal. Links in the video description. This is Imperial Lynching Cheese. Thank you all for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.